Hello world and welcome to Elevated Intuition. Today we are doing a pick a card reading for your next week. This is probably the most often reading that I do, so I have an entire playlist because they're all timeless. But yeah, these are the choices that I have for you today. I can also put some objects on these in a minute and give you some more insight to the choices. So we are setting the intention that you will get the messages that you need to receive. Not that necessarily that you want to receive, but that you need in this moment and that you need to receive for this week. And then I'm also asking you to use your intuition, and that's the part of the pick a card. You use your intuition to pick the card, number, and object. There's a timestamp down below in the description. You click on the corresponding timestamp, then I use my intuition to read the cards for you. Now, most popular way for people to choose is with objects, so I'm going to place those right now. And for group number 1, the object here is, it's kind of delicate, but it is it's Bumblebee Jasper in the shape of a butterfly. So with butterflies are beautiful and they've gone through metamorphosis, but it wasn't an easy metamorphosis. When you're a caterpillar, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen to you when you enter that chrysalis and you completely liquefy, but the end result is worth it, I would think. So for group number 2, we have a star. This is tree agate. Tree agate? No, this is moss agate. They're both very similar, both very like grounding stones. So I find it lovely that the star is made out of that. We kind of have those two worlds, the grounding and like this, our dreams colliding and coming together with the star. And you know, it's kind of about, it's about like wishing on a star, I think. And for group number 3, the object is, we've got a heart. This is not just any heart, this is a crystal clear heart. So this is being clear with your heart and your intentions, and clear with your love, probably both for yourself and for others. So those are the objects. If you are still not sure which one to choose, I always love to do an exercise where I close my eyes, and you can do that with me right now. I'll close my eyes with you. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in and release. Just be here in this moment. Take another deep breath in and release. Okay, now that we're nice and calm and right here in this moment, thinking about the next week and the messages that we need to hear, go ahead and open your eyes, and wherever your eyes are drawn, that is the group for you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you at your reading. Hello group 1, and welcome to your reading for this next week. So this is just loosely attached, but I think it works here with the Bumblebee Jasper butterfly. So there we go. I think it's very beautiful. I love the yellow. A lot of happy energy really coming in. So the first card is not these. The first card, I usually do an overall type of energy with an oracle deck, and this is the Oracle of Portals, and the card that comes out for you is the Underwater Realm, and you are being called not outward or upward, or you know, a lot of times we feel like we need to keep moving or going or doing, and this is really just more about being, and it's more about internal being, your own consciousness, taking a moment to relax, express your creativity. Water softens things, so if you've been harsh to yourself or harsh to other people, you're asked to soften those sharp edges. And water is very powerful. It carves deep canyons, dissolves giant rocks. into the tiniest grains of sands. It cleanses, it heals, it nourishes and transforms jagged edges into smooth ones. And that's what I'm talking about with that harshness. But it's hard when you're in a harsh state of mind. This is shifting that state of mind, focusing on yourself. You probably have been focusing on everybody else. You probably have been focusing externally. Because when we get that harshness, it's a reminder that we need to calm down a little bit. We need to take a step back. Even though like life comes at us very fast. Life comes at us fast. to quote Ferris Bueller there. But you have to stop and look around every once in a while. You have to hold for a moment. You have to look at the person that you're becoming and decide if that's the direction that you want to continue to go in. You have to fill your own cup, and we're filling it with poetry and music. We're delving into our intuition, and we're listening to that tiniest of voices. We have to cut the clutter to hear that. Dreams, emotions, we're paying attention to those things. Not because, see, here's the thing, if you don't pay attention to your dreams and your emotions, if you don't pay attention to those things, it's not like they don't exist, they do. They just will express themselves in that harshness that I'm talking about. So if you sit there in a moment with a different perspective, a higher perspective, pull yourself out of the emotion of the situation. Look at that emotion. Ask questions about it. Why am I feeling it like this? What is happening? And that will help you to categorize it and actually to use that emotion rather than the emotion using you. It's not like the emotion goes away. You need to, kind of reassert your command over it. Wow. Okay. We get the 3 of Pentacles. We get the Hierophant in reverse. Ooh, 10 of Swords in reverse. And one more card. So, okay. So, let me show you what these cards look like upright, so you kind of get an idea. Sometimes it's hard to see what they look like when I have them in reverse and I start explaining what they mean. I'll just leave them upright, but I'll tell you what they mean the way that they came out, okay? So we have the 3 of Pentacles over here. This is somebody who's working very, very hard. Actually, a bunch of somebody's. Your work situation with your co-workers, and usually there's a lot of harmony with the 3 of Pentacles. Everybody stays in their lane, everybody is doing their job, everybody knows their role, and even in this picture here, we've got 3 people. We've got the person doing the work, we've got somebody with the plans, and then we've got, maybe the supervisor here. The only thing is, like, usually this is a very positive card, and I'm not going to say that it's necessarily negative, but I do feel like there might be some adjustments that you're feeling need to be made with your work situation when we get the following cards after that. The Hierophant in reverse, the 10 of Swords. Now, the 10 of Swords is one of those cards that's better in reverse, because if you can see this right here, it's somebody who's laying on the ground bleeding, and they've got swords stuck in their back, swords stuck all around them. This can be gossip. This could be somebody going behind your back. Maybe in this work situation, you felt like you were all on the same page. But now we've got the Page over here, the Page of Pentacles. We would love this page to be upright, but he came out in reverse. And that tells me something about your work situation where it feels like you do need to step away for a minute, that the old ways of doing things, the process, a lot of times we say trust the process, and maybe you do trust the process, but maybe the process part needs to be rethought. Maybe you need to step away from the process because it's not yielding the results that you thought it would. Or you're putting in the effort, but once you lift your head up and look around, it's like there's a lot of other things around you that aren't done, that aren't your job, that aren't your responsibility. But you can't shine when those other things are done. And it's kind of difficult to understand where you need to go after that, especially when we've got the Page and Pentacles in reverse, we're not sure where to take this. When everything is happening the right way, when you are doing your job and you are fulfilling your role, we should get a certain result. And I feel like you're invested in that result, but you're not being allowed to shine because something externally is happening. Now, I'm glad that the underwater realm is here, because the knee-jerk reaction would be to be angry, be upset, point fingers. But I feel like the whole reading is talking about you being the bigger person. You, you know, being responsible for what you're responsible for. And it seems like there's a little bit of being aware. Let's be aware that there are some passive aggressive things happening in your workplace that are a little bit out of your control at the moment. I feel like this might be from somebody that you work for rather than you work with, or somebody who has more seniority than you, more experience than you. I feel like there might be a little bit of jealousy. And at the moment in this week, it's kind of difficult to figure. It's definitely an upsetting situation. I'll say that. But the underwater realm reminds us that our emotions are here for a reason. And there are a lot of different things that we can do with this situation. So it's take a break, take a step back. Maybe it is that you need to take a step back from the role that you're fulfilling, because it kind of feels like nobody is noticing anything is wrong because you keep pushing the cart. And it's time to start ringing some bells, but it's kind of again, it's a very difficult situation because you don't want to be the one that's the complainer. Unfortunately, when we have bad management, when you're the one who says, hey, you know, I'm fulfilling my tasks, this is my role, this is what you told me to do, it's getting done, but we're not getting the project completed the way we wanted to because these things are not happening. It's crazy how many times that you, who are the person who brings that issue to the attention of your superiors, that you're the one who gets blamed for it. So it's time to be a little bit more strategic about it. And for some of you, the situation is going to like a higher authority. For others of you, it is stepping back and saying like, hey, I really want to complete this. I want to complete my job. But, you know, office gossip is more important than completing this project. And I've done as much as I can do. We need you in a management leadership position to step up and do what you're supposed to do. For others of you, it is a moment in time for you to step up into that leadership position. And I feel like this week is really kind of a discovery stage. And this week is really kind of there's some options, but you're not quite sure exactly which way to go with it. And that's why the page of coins is reversed. We don't know which way to go. And feels like it's uncharted territory, like you've not been there before, that you don't know what's going to happen. The good news is the 10 of Swords reversed here means that it is coming to a head, it's coming to an end. So this passive aggressiveness, this gossiping behind people's back, like it is about to be revealed, it is about to be opened up. Probably because you're going to be shining a light on it. However, this is really uncharted territory for you, so you really need to be conscious of your feelings. A lot of times when we find ourselves in this position, we spout off emotionally and people are turned off by that, and they feel like it's just because you're mad that's the problem, when you're just mad about the problem. I know, trust me, I've been there. Like, I tried to raise concerns about business practices and problems with an e-commerce business that was making millions of dollars a month that is now bankrupt. So I know what it's like to work for people who don't quite see it, but that I feel like is why the underwater realm is here, because you're going into uncharted territory, and you're finding a creative solution to what you're to this situation, and you're not going to be quite sure about it. Interesting, but it's here to help you grow. Maybe you've never seen yourself in the role of in more of a leadership role and more of a supervisory role, but I feel like it's how you handle this situation and how you know, it's one thing to come to the table with issues, but when we come to the table with solutions is what I'm saying. So you look at it from a whole. Like perhaps somebody else isn't fulfilling their role because they don't have the things that they need. And you are going to, it's interesting, we have the supermoon, honey. If you're watching this video when I'm uploading it in August, like we have supermoons going on right now. We actually have 2 in the month of August, which is rare. That's a blue moon. So I feel like this is, even though it's presenting itself as an issue at the moment, it really is a great opportunity for you when you go within, dig deep, really see the full perspective of the issue, not just your perspective of it. And the growth here is not only for your company, but you within that company. So it's an exciting growth opportunity. The attraction is putting out that expectation, putting out that intention that you are going to meet like-minded individuals when you speak about the issue. Okay, so as you delve deep into this issue, because I really see you as the problem solver here, issues come up, conflicts come up as a way to kind of force you out of your comfort zone and become the problem solver. But if you put the intention in there that you're coming from a place of not productivity, however that's what's popping into my mind at the moment, a place of, you want everybody to succeed. We want to get over whatever is the issue at the moment so that we can all shine. You're going to attract everybody else, even if right now they might feel like they're in conflict with you, whether because you're able to complete your job, you know what you're doing, it feels like you know your role and you know what you're doing. Because of that, I feel like the universe is calling you to step out of that a little bit, step out of your comfort zone. And they're doing it by showing you that, you are more competent than you even know, that you can do other roles. Like maybe you are this person here who's doing all the work. But because of that, you realize that there's some issues with the plans. And you realize that maybe this person who's an engineer, let's say, that they didn't take in the full scope, even though they've got like the education behind them. They don't have the practical knowledge. Or vice versa. Maybe you do have the education and now you're being called to put that practical knowledge into place. It just feels like you're getting pushed out of that comfort zone and being asked and being tasked to think of things in a new way, and especially around your job. And the Ten of Swords too, like even if you're not aware of, I kind of feel like you are aware of a little bit of backstabbing, a little bit of gossip, a little bit of things behind you or bubbling at the surface. It's time to turn towards that as well. You don't have to be completely confrontational in a very negative way. Like, confrontation can be good and positive. And this is all about using these little things that are just not fitting, these little things that are just not working, as a way to learn and grow and really soften everybody else around you, so that we can move past this, we can move forward, that we can actually then discover new ways to really make money. This is a new opportunity for you to make money. It's just at the moment, the way that you're looking at it or the way it's being presented to you, like our knee-jerk reaction to it is going to be probably angry, upset. Lead into those emotions and look at them, and then start to, it might even help to write these things down. It also really helps that when you are like writing an email, to write that a couple of times, maybe even in Word. Don't even put that in your email software, so that you can craft it, so that you can go over it. Let your partner read it, who's not even involved in the business, because the point of all of this is to be productive, and the point of all of this too is to show how you shine. It's just things at the moment are just not working the way that they should. And I think there's also an element of patience that's being asked of you at this moment. That's difficult. So I realize and I understand that this may not be the easiest week for you. However, it's just really this underwater realm that we discussed is so going to help you. We're stepping away. Even if you step away from the situation that upsets you, you sleep on it, there's a lot of this underwater realm where it talks about being able to float in a natural body of water if possible. If not, taking a saltwater bath, putting those Epsom salts in there. It's relaxing you so that you are your best self, and really getting a new perspective, because part of the perspective might be like you're angry for no reason, or that it's one person who's intentionally just trying to make you angry just because they're that person. Hurt people. And if you approach them with love, I think the whole situation shifts, the whole thing changes, and everybody grows and grows together. So that's what I have for you, Group 1. I hope that you have an amazing week, actually. I think that, it can be very challenging, but I think at the end of it, it's going to be very, very rewarding. So that's what I have for you, and I hope that you have, again, an amazing week. Hello, Group 2. If you picked this beautiful moss agate star, well, it's time for your star to shine, really. We will get to these in a moment, but the first card that came out for you is from this Portals deck. It's the Oracle of Portals, and it is future. There's so much about spirituality, about living in the moment, and that is important, but it's also important to take a moment to think about the future and think about where you want to be. I don't know about you, but I always hated those questions. They always inevitably came up in job interviews, and it was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I hated it because I didn't really have an answer, because I never thought about that. And I think a lot of people don't think about that. It's time to think about that. It's time to but do it in a positive way, and do it in a way that, like, what is your dreams? Like, maybe make a, what is that called? a vision board. Maybe make a vision board and think about the things that you really, truly want and what you want, because it can be really exhausting when we're living our lives for other people. Inevitably, we're going to pick up things from our friends or from society or culture or family, but we want to make sure that this is something that you want. Otherwise, you know, how can you manifest it's exhausting to manifest or try to manifest something that somebody else is. You know, you are who you are, and you are in the perfect position to manifest everything that you want, and all of the things that have happened to you or you've been through, all of your circumstances, they're going to culminate in the perfect way to give you the future that you desire, the future that you want, and the future that you deserve. So don't worry about not having whatever experience it is that you think that you need to have. You have very valuable experiences. You're amazing the way you are, and your dreams are important. So that's what we need to know right now. Ooh, Wheel of Fortune reversed. One more card and then we'll see what all we got out. Ooh, Chariot reversed. Okay, let's see what these are. Okay, so very interesting. Whenever I get a spread like this, where all of the cards are reversed, and look at the cards though, look at how powerful these cards are. I think you're afraid of your own power. I feel like, first of all, I don't read spreads that are all reversed. I love using reversals. I think that they give me a little bit extra information that I wouldn't have if I didn't use them. A lot of people don't use them, and whatever their process is fine when they're reading cards. But when I get a spread here where everything comes out in reverse, it just tells me that you're blocking your own energy. It tells me maybe that we've got some negative intrusive thoughts going on, that you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe in the vision that you have for yourself. I would say you don't believe in it. I spent that extra time on the vision that you have versus the vision that society has, and you might not believe in it because could be a vision that, or it's tangled up with visions and versions of success that society says we should have. I know a lot of couples who aren't married and who just are very, very happy, but inevitably, like, their family or their friends or whomever is like, when are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? When are you going to get married? And that takes a toll on them. And then the next question is, when are you going to have kids? And when you have a kid, the next question is, when are you going to have the next kid? Now, just no. I mean, that puts pressure on you. But if you know that it's not necessarily that somebody is trying to put pressure on you, it's just that they want to be interested in your life and they want to know what your vision of your life is. They're interested. If you don't have a well-sculpted vision of your life, though, and people are asking interested questions like that, well, it's a problem. It's a problem. I mean, I have several friends who, they don't have kids. I don't discuss it with them because I feel like, well, I mean, come on. You can come to me with any question and we can discuss it. So if they come to me with a question, that's fine. But I usually don't go and ask people things. I let them come to me. But that's not how everybody is. A lot of people are asking you things. And if you don't have a well-crafted idea of why you're following a specific path that you're following, then you don't really have an answer for that. And that's why I'm talking about spending this week really delving into what it is that you want. And look at these cards. Like, all of these cards are saying that you have the ability to create your dreams, desires. Look at the future in this Wheel of Fortune card. Isn't that amazing? Like, they have, of course, there are different color schemes and different art But this is an interesting Wheel of Fortune. It's usually not presented like this, but they look, it's a hooded figure holding the future in the palm of their hands. This one is gazing into that like portal of the future, and that's kind of the energy of this week. It's a portal of the future. And the Wheel of Fortune is holding this wheel. The wheel turns. We've got cycles. We've got ups and downs. We've got things that are going to come up that we aren't going to have a plan for, and that's okay. When we have a specific vision, we don't need all of the details. When we have that vision and we hold that vision, the ups and downs that come, we're able to take those on because we have that vision. And I kind of feel like that when it was giving you that example of people asking you like your plans for the future, what are you going to do with this? What are you going to do with that? If you don't have answers to those questions, just the mere questions feel like a weight on you, feel like they're holding you back. When in reality, we can use those as hey, I haven't really thought of that particular situation or scenario, but my overall plan is this, and I imagine that if that comes up, I would do this, 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 and this. And that's what this week is about. It's finding that overall, that dream, that what is it that you want 5 years from now idea. The Wheel of Fortune is about karma, and it's about cycles, and it's about ups and downs. And a lot of times we encounter the Wheel of Fortune, or we encounter life, and we've been so, for lack of a better word, beat down by it, that we have like these ups and downs, and we are just like riding that wave, but not in a very proactive way. We're just letting it take us wherever we want it to go, or not where we want to go, but we're riding the wave and letting it take us wherever. But this is about being proactive. It's about holding a vision, having a vision. It is about, I want to be a lawyer. Great. Now that I have that goal, what is it that I can do right now to make that happen? Can I go and work in a law office? Can I go and get a specific degree? Can I go this? Can I do this? Like, what is now my path to make that and accomplish it? Queen of Wands, Nine of Pentacles. Look at this Nine of Pentacles. So if your dream at all involves creation and creating wealth and creating like the Nine of Pentacles is like a very self-made entrepreneurial spirit. She did this and created it herself. She had, with the Queen of Wands, oh my gosh, the Queen of Wands is the ultimate creator. Queens create, and then the Queen of Wands is creative on top of creative. I love that, we're looking into this world. It's very fire energy. It's very action oriented as well. So it's not only holding that vision, but then making steps and creating actions to make it happen. And sometimes we have to start taking action before, you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. You're never going to have a fully fleshed out plan. And even if you had a fleshed out plan, like half the things that you think that you need to do, or you think that you need to know, or that you're planning, you don't even need. Especially when you don't know how the universe is going to react to this vision that you're holding for yourself. And that's okay. There's a lot of action, a lot of movement, and the Chariot is all about action. The interesting thing about the Chariot is that it's ruled by Cancer, the zodiac sign Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. Cancer is about emotions. Cancer takes our emotional side and it takes that action side and it puts them together. See, we've got these two sphinxes here. These two sphinxes are really pulling us. You take those two opposites and you put them together and you really create something, and you create this vision that nobody else sees. You're the only one who sees it. I think it's really important that this is you know, you find ownership in this. Very beautiful. And I love that you have the star here. Wow, power. Look at this. Power. But I love that you chose the star, because the star, you know, what is that saying about, you know, shoot for the stars, or shoot for the, I think it's shoot for the moon. And even if you miss, you land among the stars. Well, I mean, the stars are farther out, but you get what I'm saying. So this is about dreaming big. And this is sticking to your guns. That growth that comes from the resistance here. The resistance is you finding your, again, Nine of Pentacles, the future, your personal goals. We have future, power, Wheel of Fortune, and Chariot here. Holy hell, group 2. This next week is going to be amazing for creating that spark for everything and anything that you want, that you're going for. Go for it. Do it. Dream big. I'm seriously getting goosebumps here. Full moon power. I just, like, I almost see the power as like the manifestation of like this huge boss energy, this huge leadership energy, this huge like energy that you create through your sheer will. But that sheer will doesn't happen until you know what it is that you want. And this is the week to do it. And I feel like, again, these cards came out in reverse just because it's time to think about those things. It's time to reevaluate your goals. It's time to believe in yourself. And you should believe in yourself. Look at this. The universe believes in you. Your spirit guides, they've got your back. So that's what I have for you, group 2. I hope that you have an amazing week. And it looks like you will. And I will see you in the next reading. Hello, group 3. So we've got this beautiful clear quartz heart. 3, my oldest, wisest deck, we'll say. And then, but the first card that we're pulling out for you is from this Oracle of Portals deck. So this is portals happening this week that take us to the next level, take us somewhere. And this is Awake. So Awake, I mean, I love this card. It's so beautiful. Like, who does not want to awake in this beautiful, lovely temple? But sometimes, you know, this says rise and shine is what this says on this card. But sometimes, you know, we don't want to admit to ourselves that we've been asleep, or we know that there's a truth out there and we've kind of been avoiding it. And I think there's so many things in our lives that we're awake, you know, and we can't really blame ourselves for not always being awake or not always being on it, because we're humans living a human experience. We have limited focus. We have limited ability. We can't do everything all at once. And maybe that's the truth that you're awakening to, is that maybe you can't do everything. But things are changing, and we're about to change. We have alarm bells going off here, and it's time for you to face that truth and become awakened to that thing or area of life. For some of you, it might be you're awakening to a new love. Maybe it has been that you've been focused in another area of your life. Maybe you've been focused on your career and you're awakening to, you know, my personal life, I need to do some more development here. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you have been, you know, just lost in love, and it's awakening to, where do you see yourself as, you know, a friend? Maybe you need some friendships. Maybe you need some alone time. Maybe you need some time in the gym to figure things out. Maybe you need some time, but it's, or maybe it's Sometimes I feel like awakening happens with politics, where we think that somebody has our best interest in mind, and then you're like, wait a second, what I thought was great is just as bad as what I thought was bad. Anyway, but you tell me what you're awakening to, because I don't know what it feels like there's something that's been holding back. You've been holding yourself back, and it may be a truth that you know that something is true, and you've just been ignoring it. You might ask yourself, I know I don't know, but if I did know, what would the answer be? Okay, so that's a good way to awake to certain things. I always feel like sleeping on it. Like I don't know, it just engages my subconscious in a way that is very, very helpful when I think about an issue. Sometimes it can keep you up at night if you do that though. But if you just, and this goes along with awake too, if I have an issue that I need to work on, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just giving this up to my subconscious. I'm going to sleep, and in the morning I'm going to awake, and it's going to awaken something inside me so that I have an answer. And then I love this in the book where it talks about this card. It says, you know, when you do that work and you think about what you're awakening to, and once you do awake, you'll be standing on the threshold of power. So I feel like it is very much awakening something inside of you. There's also an element here to, sometimes we get lost in victim mentality. It's nice to have attention for that. However, it holds us back, or there's something that you're doing that's holding you back, or you've just always felt like you're stuck in a particular situation, and this awaken is realizing that you're not really stuck. I used to have horses. I used to do 4-H. Wow. And it's interesting, Wheel of Fortune comes out. I used to have horses. I used to do 4-H. And one thing that we would do with our horses is called ground tie. So you train your horse that you just, you know, you have a lead and you're holding your horse, and you just like drop that lead, and they're not really tied to anything. You just drop the lead, and you make your horse stay there, and they're just tied to the ground for all intents and purposes. Well, I mean, they're cooperating with you. They're doing what you're asking. But at any moment, they can leave. They can do whatever they want. They're just either staying in that position because they are obedient, because they're playing a game with you. But if it was holding them back, like if I told them that they were ground tied and then they were, you know, starving, or they were dying of thirst, they have the power to move. They have the power to leave at any moment. They didn't need to do that because obviously we were building trust, and they trusted me, and I took care of their needs and desires. But in this instance, you're the one who's taking care of your needs and desires. And are you finding yourself trapped into a situation where you're not as happy as you could be? This is beautiful over here. So let me just tell you what we got here. We've got the Wheel of Fortune reversed. I said, wow, Wheel of Fortune came out for the group before me. 6 of Cups. So something in the past feels like it's holding you back. A way of thinking. 6 of Cups is nostalgia. Sometimes we've got like this really bright, beautiful way of looking at the world, and then life happens and knocks us down. The Wheel of Fortune discusses karma. The Wheel of Fortune discusses ups and downs, the ebb and flow of life. You know, sometimes things change very, very quickly. Sometimes we're on top, sometimes we're on the bottom. And when we have it in reverse, it talks about kind of just being reactive to life and not proactive. I feel like this awake has something to do with your past dreams, has something to do with your past desires, and it has to do with you becoming into your power, where you become proactive in your life rather than reactive. Everyone has ups and downs, and I bet you can look at somebody and think that they have like the perfect life, and I'm telling you they don't. They are just dealing with the ups and downs a little bit differently than you are. Maybe it's because they have this long vision of what they want. They have maybe this idea of service to others. It feels like they have like feels like a higher calling could be helpful to you, and maybe the person that you're thinking who has it all together, who has it all figured out, has this higher calling. But I just feel like in this instance, there's something about your dreams. There's something about your past dreams. There's something about something that you've been ignoring for a while that we need to shine some light on. And we need to, very similar to group 2, by the way, but we need to figure it out for you. It's time to wake up, baby. It's time to shine light on your dreams, and it's time to start going after that. And then over here, like, your dreams really could be about love. We've got 2 cups cards here, and then the 4 of Wands. The 4 of Wands is a card of celebration. This could be a wedding here, you know, a wedding reception that we're at. Sometimes it's just a beautiful party. Sometimes it's celebrating ourselves. Sometimes it's a graduation. Sometimes it may be a baby shower. But there are lovely celebrations here in your future. And if this awakening, this looking at your life, and you're thinking that the awakening had to do with love, the awakening had to do with a partnership, maybe getting married, maybe having a family, having a baby, very strong indication here that that can be achieved, and achieved pretty easily, actually. So it's, yeah, the awake into your dreams. And then the 2 of Cups is that partnership, that back and forth, that exchange of love, that but it's an equal back and forth. It's where you are putting in like 100% and the other person is putting in 100%, and you both feel like the other person is doing more for you than you're doing for them. And that's a beautiful relationship. Sometimes, though, when we get on hard times, or we're having we're having a little bit of hard time, maybe another aspect of our life, your partner stepping up. Sometimes you need to step up for them. And that is what is so beautiful and lasting about this 2 of Cups. And the 2 of Cups, like if I were doing a relationship reading, these are the exact cards that I would want to see. That, yeah, I know that you've been beat up, and I know that you've had some issues, but keep going, because everything here is opening up into like a very beautiful, fun, creative, celebratory setting for you. And then one more. What else can we tell group 3 about their week? Beautiful blossoming. I love that she's playing the violin as well. I think that music could also be very important into creating the ideal life that you desire, the ideal dream that you desire, your dream life. I also think that it's interesting, the awake here, because I almost feel like your dreams and your life can almost be indistinguishable once you step into your power. And sovereignty, Queen of the Moon. There's a power card in this deck, and then there's the sovereignty in this deck. I see sovereignty as having standards, enforcing standards, because you value yourself, your time, your vision, and it's almost like an uncompromising type of energy. It's not that you are pushing yourself or your vision on others and making them accept it, but you And I also feel like, you know, standing in your power here. We talked about victim mentality. We talked about releasing that. It is so kind of seductive to be in it, especially if you spend any time online. It's almost like a race to, in online spaces, it's almost a race to have the biggest pity party, and you get a lot of attention that way. But sovereignty and awake is you not needing the attention because you're giving the attention to yourself. And I feel like there's a lot of love here, a lot of like heart chakra also energy coming through. And just look at these cards. Look at how bright and cheery and happy just the colors in the cards are here. And this is when you start asserting your true self and your true power and blossoming. This growth, but it's a beautiful unfolding, and it's happening at its own time. So there's no need to force it. It just happens. Sometimes it feels like it happens overnight. And again, I feel like when we encounter challenges, that music and maybe even poetry, maybe even try writing your own music and poetry, can help carry you through that. Now she's got a violin, and I love that this, you know, we've got this spark coming off of this. But I feel like it's a way for you to express yourself, but also connect and touch others. A lot of light, a lot of beautiful unfolding and opening up here this next week. So that's what I have for you, Group 3. I hope this was helpful. Looks like a beautiful week, and I will see you in the next reading.